I'm Martin Wallace.
I'm Darren McCarthy.
And I'm Dan Fury.
And this is The Fundamentals.
Yeah.
Absolutely, guys.
All right.
Welcome back. Huh?
So good.
Huh?
Yeah.
The heck are we about to talk about?
We're talking top secret stuff today. I
All
mean,
right. How are we going to do that?
we went into the dark. We are talking about the Sentient World Simulation,
Sure.
the SWS. Now, chances are this is a thing you've never heard of.
I hadn't until you said it the first time we talked about it.
Yeah. I still don't know what.
I was afraid of this. I mean, what if it's really all that top secret? What can you really know?
Okay.
Well, we can sort of piece together what it is and what's happening, but you can only go so far before it just becomes speculation.
Yeah.
So I say we should just start with what is fact.
Yep.
And
As far as you know.
yeah,
The SWS is kind of an offshoot or the next evolution of this program called the Synthetic Environment for Analysis and Simulations.
C's.
SEAS. This is a program that came out of Purdue. It was funded by a bunch of different government agencies, and it is most notably used by the DoD and Homeland Security. It's a piece of modeling software,
It's algorithms.
but they're basing these models and algorithms off of increasingly like more and more refined data. So they've got millions of individual like nodes that are acting independently in this system to make up a larger picture.
Yeah.
So instead of just kind of going like, well, people from the United States are like this, it's like, well, people from Baltimore are like this.
Finds it down. So a node
Yeah.
represents a certain amount of people in a certain area that they
Yeah.
have the information, are behaving in a certain way collectively.
And then like there's one for the utility company in this area, or like the railways or the highway system. I mean, just like they try to refine it down so it's not just North America. It's like trying to get it down to a finer scale. And this has been kind of in action a lot in the last 10 years, pretty heavily. And again, it's coming out of Purdue. And this guy, Alok Chaturvedi, he's a professor at Purdue, and he's been
Professor of Information Systems.
Yeah.
That's an imposing title. You tell someone that when you're getting frisked at airport security. I'm a professor of information systems.
I have a feeling this guy doesn't get frisked.
I bet not.
I think
It just blows right through.
With the connections he has with the DoD, I don't think he's getting frisked.
that was kind of the seed for a more robust version, which is where the Sentient World Simulation kind of comes in.
So here's the thing. We know about C's. This is developed, publicly known algorithm. You can buy it. He runs a company called Simulex, and he has clients from all over, from public to private businesses and government. Obviously, the Department of Defense, CIA probably has bought some. A great number of people have purchased this program. You can imagine it'd be really useful as far as marketing is concerned to have all this information of what people in specific demographics are acting like and to be able to predict what they will do. But the Sentient World Simulation is the name given to what is supposed to be a much more in-depth version of the same software that only the Department of Defense has.
Yeah.
Now, nobody knows exactly how big or powerful the thing is. It's still very much limited to the fact that computers are at current rate of technology. The idea is all of these nodes have gone from being representing 1,000 people or 100 people to representing every person on the planet, which means you have a node and I have a node. Everyone listening has a node. And that node is getting information on us.
Well, that makes sense because most of us have direct output to the internet.
Every time you buy something on Amazon, every time your GPS is being used on your phone, every time you make a Google search, your node is being updated with that information.
Tweets.
Yeah. I think that's something like people say, well, you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to worry about.
Worst argument.
It's the worst. I've got nothing to hide. Don't necessarily want anyone reading my email.
Mm-hmm.
Don't need to be.
Don't need to be.
Our privacy has gone out the window. Our lives have become totally transparent. And what they're doing with all of the information that we're giving them is now no longer available to us to see. And that's the scariest problem there. We've been told that privacy isn't necessary. If you have nothing to hide, you have no reason to be worried about this. When at the same time, whatever they're doing with it is something that we can't publicly know. We don't even really know that they're doing this, but the signs are there. They purchased this software roughly around the same time that the NSA built the Utah Data Center, which is the largest data storage facility probably in the world. There might be some secret ones in other countries that I'm not really aware of, but I'm pretty sure this is the biggest one, where they keep simply all of the information from the internet that we provide, where you can imagine the Sentient World Simulation is being run on the world's largest computer.
I imagine that my node got some traffic from this research.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about that. I was typing in Sentient World Simulation. This is not good.
The thing is, we made the joke a couple episodes back. I don't remember which one where I was saying Google probably thinks I'm a 4-year-old child.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm Googling the weirdest, simplest questions all the time. What is the circus? What is fire? What is gravity? It's as if I have literally no one to talk to, and I'm just, an idea. What? Well, tell me that. And so they probably have some really odd idea of who I am.
They see Carl Tanzler trepanation, kidneys, human anatomy things, deep sea diving. They think that we're psychos.
Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, there's not a whole lot to be known about the Sentient World Simulation specifically, other than if this thing is happening, and there are plenty of people who are pretty certain that it is.
Of course it is.
Well, we don't know if it's working that well, but they're working on making it work that well. So far, it sounds like they're just watching our purchasing habits because they're creepy.
Yeah.
But they have this running at the Seas was running at Purdue with real-time simulations of 62 nations, the biggest being Iraq, Afghanistan, and China. This one, if it's more specific, is probably running up to the entire world, if not everything that's important. I'm sure there's probably places where they really couldn't care any less what people are doing. But the idea is, if it is constantly getting real-time information, it's not just watching us, which is a real fear that every email I send, every time I log into my Ashley Madison account, it knows, because it can follow me really through any kind of disguises that I make, especially when something like if it's following my GPS. I was explaining to somebody who'd never heard of it before how I have a fairly low input into social media on the internet, that kind of thing. But if it is really working this well, none of that matters. It's still tracking my daily movements. It still knows when I buy something online, when I use my cards.
Oh, yeah.
It's got way more information than I could ever realistically know that it has. And I am very quiet online. That's scary. But it's not just watching us. They're running the simulations to see how people en masse would react theoretically to things like an earthquake in Nepal, or a coup in Thailand, or a nuke from North Korea. So it is a really amazing, useful piece of technology, if it really is working as well as the conspiracy theorists are saying, to think that we would have a better idea to protect our population and defend ourselves from threats if we had a good idea of how swarms of people would react to information. That's pretty cool. It's very, very futuristic. It's unbelievably sci-fi to think that they're just constantly playing this big game of The Sims where everything's on the line.
That's what it makes me think of is The Sims.
What would happen if a tsunami hit the coast of Oregon and I am simulated reacting that way based on what I did
Yeah.
when some other similar event happened in real life.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. It is pretty creepy to think that every time I've bought an Almond Joy, that's part of the simulation too, and they know that.
Do you buy a lot of those?
Well,
That's one way to break
whenever
the
I really
internet.
need a little coconut.
Yeah, I think that there is some obvious like disaster response. It should be this would help you fine tune the
Mhm.
response. But
Right. I don't want you to think that what I just said was in any way defending the fact that it exists and we
Yeah.
don't know about it.
This is not an endorsement.
No,
yeah,
it's cool, but I would like to play with it with everyone else.
yeah,
You know, I'd like to see
Yeah.
it in action. Obviously, it's an incredibly expensive piece of equipment, but they could probably run it online.
If they could make this the next Sims,
Mhm.
it'd be like a real-time Sims. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Or Railroad Tycoon, either one.
I always like Jurassic Park or
Oh,
Jurassic.
yeah.
What was it? Dinosaur Tycoon.
That's right. Yeah.
Of course. I always put my herbivores right next to my omnivores, and I would just shut off the power.
See what happened.
Mhm.
Hold on to your butts.
Let's just talk about Jurassic Park for
Okay.
a while. Huh?
Okay.
Have you not seen Jurassic World yet?
I saw it with you, didn't I?
No, you didn't go.
No, you. I saw it with another man.
Another man.
I kind of look like you. In my memory, we saw it together. So,
Well, we didn't.
uh,
But did you like it?
no,
Really?
no. I liked the park.
Uh-huh.
That was really cool. The kids were really bratty with no reason to like them at all. The oldest boy,
Well, so are the ones in the original too.
they had a little bit of a redeeming quality. They wanted to at least
Yeah,
be
when they're-
liked by the
That's
parents. They were very into dinosaurs.
And when they were in that
Those
kitchen,
two were spoiled,
Ooh.
sent there because they were lucky enough to get free passes. They show up. The guy has a girlfriend back home, immediately is just looking for other girls to hit on, even though they're on vacation. The little kid is interested in dinosaurs, but has no outlet for it. And the woman in charge of the park has a happy ending, even though she caused
The
all
whole thing.
kinds of death. So, no, I hated the movie.
Okay.
But it was really pretty. Like, I really love the park. I love the dinosaurs. I love all that. But the story was...
Hated it.
How did you guys feel? Did you guys like it?
It was fun.
It was very fun. That's true. It was a fun movie.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, okay.
Well, watch it.
Check it out.
It sounds worth it. There's really not much more fact.
That's, kind of it. So if you want to do a little
Speculation.
outside research, you want to go to boilingfrogspost.com. Now, Boiling Frogs is
Sounds good.
An independent online news, editorial analysis, and multimedia
Sounds like it.
website that is truly independent. They do not receive
Truly.
a single penny from corporate advertisers, foundations, NGOs, or partisan affiliated entities. And they cover select but significant blacked out stories and issues while defying blinded partisanship and propaganda-driven mainstream views. The one you want to look up is James Corbett, who runs a thing called the Corbett Report, which
That's
is
our guy.
really, really similar to the Colbert Report.
Corbett Report.
It's almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I bet
You won't be able to tell the difference.
YouTube it. It's great. He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool. I do think that he spends way too much time on the darker side of the web looking things up. I'd like to get in touch with him. I really wanted to bring him in on this.
Yeah.
Alas, we did not. Watch some of his videos. He's great at explaining it. He'll tell you pretty much what we just said, but with a little bit more of an end of the world kind of vibe
But less dinosaurs.
Eminent doom.
and less dinosaurs. So now he's very more Big Brother and George Orwell about it. Very 1984 feeling.
I could see that.
And he's not wrong.
Yeah.
He's just, I know. Yes, I've also seen Brazil. It's terrifying. And I don't want to live in that world. But unfortunately, we are slowly making that world a reality.
Yeah.
And it's not,
Well, I think that as our lives move online, this is an inevitable
Mhm.
part of that.
and we all want that feeling of safety that this kind of thing provides. And we allowed this to happen. And I think as more people become aware of the fact that this is the reality, this intent of a privacy breach is happening, I think eventually we're either just going to accept it and it's going to get worse, or there will be some kind of rebellion about it, and it's going to be a pretty interesting future. But as of right now, it's right on the edge of science fiction.
Yeah, I don't really see. We never go back. We never go backwards with technology.
No.
Barring some ridiculous, like, kind of mass extermination kind of level event. But no one is going from the newest iPhone to a Palm Pilot. Except for Dan Fury.
I consider.
But these people make personal, specific choices. Yeah. It's not
like
the
I said,
whole society.
No one is going from an iPhone to a Palm Pilot. Is that a Palm Pilot or a BlackBerry?
This is a BlackBerry Bold 9000.
That was a Palm.
It's close.
Palm Pilots are pretty cool with the stylus.
Yeah. 2008 technology. Still great.
Yeah.
I miss that little ball. I used to have one.
Yeah, these are awesome.
Yeah, it was real fun.
Great experience.
I wish you got your Helio back. That was the best.
Can you get that sound in the scrolling? The point being, though, is that, like,
yeah, what are we talking about?
We're not going to stop using the internet.
No. Not if we have the choice to use it.
And whatever mode we access the internet, everything is going to be online. Yeah. Everything will be online. Every part of our lives.
Almost immediately.
And that's
in
only...
most cases.
That will only become more and more complete, I think. So I think this is not going to be the final product. I don't think there ever will be. But something like this will always exist. And I think something else that I was thinking about with this Sentient World Simulation, the technology that they're using enables them to, at will and against my knowledge, or without my knowledge, take information from me. I don't have the technology to counteract that.
Yeah.
No.
I don't know that most people in the world know something like this exists or would know how to protect themselves from this.
How does, online retailers have to be giving this information to them, right? They can't just intercept it.
No, I'm sure that's where they're making most of their money anyway.
I'm sure they could intercept this too, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like this kind of program. So if we figured out a way to beat, quote unquote, beat this program or this current situation, the next thing is going to be, it's just the next evolutionary step of data trolling and collection. Or we all move back to the woods.
Kind of like that idea.
Quit using your phones, quit using the internet, pay cash for everything. Now, I don't like to buy into a lot of like big government conspiracies.
Right.
I don't necessarily think they're unfounded or untrue, but I think it's too easy to spend all your time wondering what if or why. And a lot of I see like a lot of blogs, a lot of conspiracy theorist people are not really doing anything to try and change it or offering any solutions other than trying to raise awareness, which is good. But if you don't really have solid facts and all you're saying is 9/11 was an inside job or they're watching you.
Yeah.
Aside from, like if you have real information to tell me, then by all means, please speak,
That's kind of how I feel about this. It's like, true or false, I don't know what I could do about this.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what I feel. Like
it's no longer up to me to decide whether or not this is okay because it's happening.
It's happening. Or
it's not.
And there's really and the technology that's being, or that I imagine is being used to do this is probably so good that all it takes is some government agency or official to say, "No, we don't have that. I can't prove otherwise." Like I don't know.
No, I like our whistleblowers. You got the Edward Snowdens.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the people who they're not.
I like that.
It's fun.
They're not running around telling you what's happening. They're just releasing documents. Well, there it is.
Yeah.
This is what's being shared. Read it. Mm-hmm. Don't listen to me. Read these documents. Now, a little bit to tie in what I was saying before, the big conspiracies that I don't buy in. A really good example of that is I ran into some blogs where people took all the information that we've just been given or that we've just presented, all the information you've just been given.
None. Yeah.
Hardly any. Given all that information that we have of there was this thing developed. It is a simulation of all of the stuff that we do in real life in real time. And the government may or may not be using it. I've seen several people jump immediately to the conclusion that what if we're a simulation inside of a simulation? And maybe, but with big questions like that, you have to ask yourself, when reality changes so much that it's no longer defined the same way as the reality was before, but nothing in your reality changes other than the definition, what's the difference?
Yeah.
It means absolutely nothing to me if I am simply a simulation because my whole experience is still the same as it always was. I still only am what I am. I'm only human, even if the definition of human now changes. So what's the point? Why even think about that? If I am some other sort of simplified construct, if we are a gigantic zoo being exhibited for aliens, say, if we're under some crazy guy's control, I still have this life that I've been living with my guise of free will. It doesn't change all the thoughts and feelings and motives I've had before. It just gives me this awareness of a greater thing that's happening that is beyond my control and makes literally no difference.
Yeah.
So
if I'm me, a real person, and the Sentient World Simulation exists, I don't like that. If I'm a simulated version within the Sentient World Simulation and I find out that in that simulation,
like Tron,
the Sentient World Simulation exists, the simulated part of me doesn't like that.
Yeah.
That is just like an endless, like taking like photo of the mirrors, kind of this like endless infinity of the same image.
It's like the Matrix. As much as that movie trilogy ended up really kind of tanking, the idea behind it is really thought-provoking. And if you were to find out that you were in a simulation and you could become free, sure. But if you never find that out, what's the difference?
Yeah.
Your entire life is still based on your knowledge of yourself.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter what that ultimately ends up being because it's just a useless piece of information to have until you can act on it, right?
Yeah, and I think that it is important ethically and morally if you were living in, say, like using the Matrix example, if you found out and were shown proof and were pulled out of the system and then were able to look at it from the outside, at that point, I think that your morals and ethics are called into question. How do you react? If you never find out, though, you can't be held accountable.
No, and you're not any worse off necessarily.
Yeah.
Because it's like say like an indoor cat. It can't miss being outside. It's never been out there, but it can look out and say, I want to, but it doesn't really know that it's any better or worse off or that it's even possible. But like Cypher, the guy in the Matrix who goes back and has his memory erased, he goes from a really terrible existence of what might be morally right, fighting for ultimately humanity's freedom, to a life of solipsism and hedonistic pleasure, where he ends up having a better life than could have possibly dreamed, even if his end goal was reached in the real world. And if he has his memory erased of the fact that that's not real, doesn't really make a difference. Seems like a better life to me. But that's a pretty big tangent we just jumped off.
Yeah, but so, I think that's kind of what kind of what the.
So I've been waiting for like 15 years or something to talk about the Matrix.
That's what the
with you guys.
Glad you got your shot.
I think that's what the Sentient World Simulation. For me, it's a morality and ethics question. I don't know anything about computers. If someone was going to hack my computer,
what are you going to do about it?
I have no.
I don't really know what that means. What that means to me is something akin to like Hollywood drama of this weird like MS-DOS.
The green screen,
command
tapping
prompts.
in asterisks and random letters that somehow gives you access to my bank account, which is totally useless to you because I'm poor.
Or when they open the computer, they just start typing.
Yeah.
What
are you doing?
What are you typing?
So when you say someone's hacked my computer, I don't really know what you mean.
And then screens just kind of keep popping up.
Popping up.
And all this information is transferring.
Yeah. for me, like that part of the technological side of it, of gathering data, does not impress me. I'm sure that's like people are like, oh yeah, you just got to set up this and
we're talking coders and math
it's
nerds.
the latest driver. Did you download the latest driver? That's how you get.
Did you uninstall and reinstall?
Turn it off
Did
and
you
turn it back on again?
Did you check for air gaps?
Yeah.
Did you unplug it?
Unplugged.
Plug back in.
Plug it back in. That part of it, I don't. I'm like, yeah, I'm very comfortable assuming that a lot of people could just take my information.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the reality of the world that we live in. That's the risk you make logging into your bank online.
Yeah. They have the capability to do that.
Mm-hmm. When you see that cool beanbag share on Amazon, you just have to have it 2-day delivery. And you put in all that information. That's the risk you take. Who knows where that stuff's going, right?
Straight
when you click buy, send, what that information is going
to the NSA immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Here's all of my credit card information and
purchasing history and all that. So yeah, that part, I'm very comfortable kind of going like, well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm stupid. And
we're all stupid.
And that's
computers
kind of
are hard.
A good point about this subject anyway. We're assuming that the computers are powerful enough to run this kind of thing. And you would think that the world's biggest computer in Utah,
and I think it's
built to do this
computer farm. So it's like not just like one, it's like server stations.
Many.
It's a big project.
It's enormous. But it's only as powerful, say, as an algorithm can be to determine this kind of stuff. So it's
how accurate is it is another question
right.
entirely.
We have no idea what this thing's doing.
Yeah.
And so all like the jumping off points that people have taken with the horror and the humanity, we're screwed. Nobody has any idea if it's even doing what they bought it to do.
I'm more interested in, so they use these as like, this program is a war game simulator. So the nodes they had set up for Iraq and Afghanistan were far and away the most sophisticated and complete. So they had like 5 million nodes for each country, and it's representing hospitals and military bases and communication hardware and that kind of thing. I would be more interested to know when they ran these simulations, and then if one of those situations happens, how accurate was the model?
Yeah.
And I think that is more vitally important to me. If I have a node representing me, and
how did you do?
There's an earthquake.
Were you one of the heroes?
What?
Or were you one of the cowards?
How many people did I save?
Yeah, that is the question.
If there's no consideration to like where the choices the individual makes based on their life comes in, then I think that this is like total bullshit.
It's one of those things that you think it could just be such a waste of time, and our Department of Defense is banking on false data.
Yeah.
False predictions. But I'm sure they're also not making all of their decisions based on what this computer algorithm is telling them will happen.
That's the thing is, so if you looked at my online presence and like purchasing history and just the things I've looked up just for this podcast, you ran that into, so North Korea nuked the United States. How do I react? But then it's like, it's kind of a question of free will. If I have free will, what do I do in a nuclear attack? Do I save myself? Do I save myself and try to help the person right next to me?
Do you go right into harm's way to help those that...
Do I knowingly go to my death to help save someone else? Am I making those choices? Am I actually making those choices? If I don't have free will, and I guess this kind of gets into like a predestiny situation.
Like determinism and all that.
Yeah, if I don't have free will, if I am the sum of all my parts, the simulator is taking just the parts of me that have bought lights for my bike online.
Googled the thing itself.
Googled, Carl Tanzler, bike lights, best cat food.
World's largest building by volume.
Largest building by volume. is that the guy that's being simulated?
Mhm.
Or is it me sitting on the wood pile at my parents' house when I was like 6 years old, eating ants on a log with my brother, and then every single day since then?
It's kind of like it. I think of like historical biographies. You have all of the facts, you have all the information, you have all these pieces, but what you put together out of that is never an accurate representation of the man or woman themselves, right?
Not completely.
No, you have such a huge gap of what is even possible to know about a person, even if you have a daily log of their entire life. So when you bring that question up, it might be really accurate in predicting where you've spent the most time traveling, the things that you might even have to travel and to react in these kinds of situations. But how you actually will, a simulation and algorithm could never tell you that.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, is like, it probably gets more accurate with time because it just has more data points. Yeah, this idea that it's a simulation
of you as an individual. And that's one of the things I kind of disagree with, how everyone, in all the research that I did, how everyone was taking the model. It's not supposed to tell you where this person will be when the bomb drops or when the earthquake hits. It's supposed to tell you, with who knows how much accuracy, how a city's going to react like a swarm of bees.
Yeah.
You know, where will people be hypothetically? Who's going to be in the blast radius? Who's going to be in the buildings that are going to fall?
Yeah, so
based on you go there X amount of days a week.
Yep.
Theoretically, you might be there, but
this
who knows?
What time you usually go. This is where you are at this time of day.
And that
usually.
Information's probably pretty useful in terms of determining that kind of large scale thing.
Yeah.
But trying to pick an individual out of a city and saying who's going to be where, when, specifically, and how are they going to react? What direction do they turn first? Not possible.
I think that the reaction thing is more to do with like, what emotional reaction are they going to have? Is it going to be how much panic? Not like, are they going to get to high ground? Are they going to, get in a car and drive? But it's like, will people band together and help, or will people scatter? But not like the individual.
They can't pick with any accuracy who's the one who's going to run back, or who's going to stand and fight.
Right.
They would just imagine a certain percentage, I'm sure, would run.
Yeah. It's a thought experiment,
a
la Newton.
Once again. Thank you, Newton, for the thought experiment.
Yeah, I got a lot more out of this topic in that regard. Like, I could not tell you what the computer specs are that they're using.
What the algorithm looks like. I'm sure it's just mumbo jumbo.
Yeah.
It is technical jargon.
Yeah. But it's an interesting thing. I mean, how closely can our technology mirror us?
Well, it's a really fun thing to think about, even if it turns out to be a farce. Yeah. Even if it's not real, it's fun to consider the implications of such a program.
At that point, it's the Matrix. It's as fun as like the movie The Matrix, not just what the subject matter of The Matrix. Yeah, it's really fun to think about.
But again, I do find it so silly how quickly people would jump into the idea that it's proof of a simulation.
Yeah.
Or our possibility of being in a simulation.
Or what the simulation is or does.
Right.
Wouldn't be surprised to find out that there is one.
No.
Doesn't change my life.
To me, the most beautiful thing is the magnitude going outside of our realm of knowledge, as well as going deeper in, from the undefinable size of the cosmos to the amount of space between atoms and electrons. They're both enormous on the exact opposite scale. And we just so happen to fit in this specific size frame where we can look so far out and look so far in. And I I believe that we will spend the rest of our existence doing both and never really understand how it all fits together. But that it goes back to what I was saying before. It doesn't matter what the answer ends up being. It won't ever change the reality of my existence because it doesn't ultimately matter. It simply is. But it's something far beyond our ability to comprehend.
Yeah.
So whether we're looking out into the expanse of the computer simulation that we somehow are wrapped up in, and whatever real reality is outside of that, is totally useless information to me.
Yeah, and I feel pretty confident saying that whatever the program that is being run right now, I would be amazed if it was more than, like, if you actually played out the actual circumstances, if it was more than like 10 or 15% accurate of what actually happens.
That's probably really positive outcome if it was that.
I would be shocked if it was like that much or more. There's no way that it's even like approaching 50% accurate. There's just no way. I think that like for the vastness of the collection, I think each individual is going to make choices, do certain things in a way that kept so deep inside, and there's no actual way yet to express them digitally online. Even like my Facebook page, my like the Twitter comment, the Instagram post, none of that is like real. That's what I'm choosing to present. It's not it's a reflection of the thing that I want to present, but it's not.
It's a facade of you.
Yeah, it's not reality. It's me safe and comfy.
I'll be curious. Someday it'll become declassified, I'm sure.
50 years, right?
We'll know. Yeah.
Freedom of Information Act. We can do that's something we should find a subject that we can do a Freedom of Information Act request to the government.
Ooh. Put our heads together for that one.
Let's think about that.
Any listeners have any good ideas, you can shoot us an email.
Yeah, I would love a suggestion of a topic that somebody would like to hear us cover.
Guys, I would just like an email.
Yeah, just say hello.
Folks, go out and do your own research. There's stuff to dig around at, but it's not going to be much more than we told
caution.
You. Mm-hmm.
Here's an email from my dad. Latest joke.
My husband, being unhappy with my mood swings, brought me a mood ring the other day so he would be able to monitor my moods. We've discovered that when I'm in a good mood, it turns green. When I'm in a bad mood, it leaves a big red mark on his fucking forehead. Maybe next time he'll buy me a diamond.
Classic.
That's pretty good.
Classic dad joke. That's just the one that came in today.
Oh, Dad.
I mean,
you got an archive?
I can go back to this morning.
I'd like to see the node for that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
There's
he's all over the place.
It would be like 45,000 photos, 200,000 songs. So you would appreciate this.
Maybe I would.
One of his favorite activities is like organizing his music library.
Oh, yeah.
On iTunes.
Oh, yeah. Every once in a while, you just got to clean it up.
By...
Uh-oh.
I would say date of release.
No. How many stars he deems it's valued at.
Wow, I don't do that.
So he's got whole sections like, these are 5-star songs.
Mm-hmm.
There's like 300 of them out of 10,000, whatever.
Does he ever just spend some time in the 2-star category? I'm just in a
slumps.
2-star mood. Yeah.
He slumps.
I don't need anything that good right now.
He slumps.
I feel like listening to music, but something I really don't care for.
Yeah.
From an artist I really like.
You know what? I'm going to listen to like the whole section of why do I even have this? If they don't even
get this,
if they don't even star, why are they on the computer?
Mm-hmm.
Taking up gigabytes.
Shout out to Dan McCarthy.
He's just out there. He's just making it happen.
Also, I'd like to say to your dad, this whole episode has been the answer to the question he asked me. He asked me, what is the Sentient World Simulation?
Wow. Yeah.
I didn't tell him, and now he has the answer.
There you go.
Just have to
Dad.
Get him to figure out how to download a podcast. And...
The truth is, I didn't know then.
Yeah.
So, your father's an intimidating man.
Can you imagine going into a meeting at work and him sitting across from you asking you, what have you done that's made a positive impact for this company lately? Subtext.
What exactly
Subtext.
would you say you do here?
The subtext. How long do you see yourself working here?
15 minutes.
The
end of this meeting. I wonder if we're involved in the Sentient World Simulation. If there's a fundamentals, if they know that we're together this time every week.
Oh yeah, gotta be.
If that's calculated in the disaster.
Huh. What will we do together?
Mm-hmm.
We'll be like the Avengers.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to leave you both immediately for my own safety. I'll leave you both
grab
to
the
die.
cat and go.
Simulated.
They got that one right. All right. Well,
thanks, boys.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. The guy that said butthole
Yeah.
today was singing
No.
This kiss, this kiss.
Who is this guy?
Wait. He goes like this. He goes, this kiss, this kiss. Unbelievable.